last Sunday night, we were having our end of the year dinner for our interfaith campus ministry group that we got started. I got started this year at the University of Bridgeport. We got Muslims and Hindus and Unificationists and a Christian or two. We got some that don't know quite what they think about the world or the holy. But that's okay, because I knew they needed a big meal. And I promised them I would cook them a big Southern meal. Now I'm going to try not let you get too hungry, but I'm going to describe it. Delicious, hot, fried chicken that I did on the stove of our church. I had 3 skillets and 2 tongs. I was like that. Mashed potatoes and gravy. I mean, you just have to have a moment of silence after that, right? Green beans that are cooked and cooked and cooked and cooked until they ain't green no more, but they taste divine. Now, we normally would put bacon drippings or ham hock or something in the beans, but because we have Muslims, I left them out, put some onions in, spiced them up some. We had carrot casserole. Do you know you could get kids to eat carrots if you had enough butter and eggs and cheese and all kinds of yummy goodness? I got Lynn Hudler to eat carrots. I don't think she ever had in her life, because she helped me. And we had biscuits with butter and molasses. That's communion, people. That's communion with iced tea. That's right. And then we had the piece de la resistance, Kentucky Derby pie. Without the Derby, because we had Muslims, but we kept the Derby for later. Anyway, I mean, it was a feast. And we hauled it all upstairs in the nutting room, and those kids couldn't even talk. They were shoveling it in so fast. Now, John, some of this makes you uncomfortable, I know, but I got to talk about the chicken a minute, okay? I made my fried chicken like I'd watched my mama make it 1,000 times. If you want to know the secret, here it is. You rinse it off good, you pat it dry, you lay it out, and you salt it. And you let it sit. And then you roll it in the seasoned flour, and you put it in hot grease, and it's heaven on a plate, because that salt pulls and makes that meat moist, and it makes the skin crispy. Okay, I'm starving. Let's go, okay? But it was salt. Salt made the difference. I also want to share a personal story that just happened yesterday. And I got permission, and it's about Ms. Kim. As you know, she's moved to Buffalo, and we're trying to hold things together. All her family and grandchildren are there. But she told me this story late last night, and I couldn't let it go, and it didn't let go of me. Now, Ms. Kim's an introvert. I'm not. Yeah, surprise. So Kim was at the airport, minding her own business. Buffalo Airport's not very big, but it's there. And she was walking in to get her sister coming in from on a flight. And this little demure woman approached her asking for directions. Turns out this little lady was named Teresa. Well, we think that was her adopted American name. She was originally from China, and she has recently immigrated here as a political refugee. Well, Kim stopped and tried to help her, and turns out the woman was trying to get from A to B and didn't know where B was. Imagine being in a strange land, a new home, without a language that people could understand. And you're trying to find the place your sponsor family's going to pick you up. Imagine the fear the confusion, the exhaustion. Well, Kim talked to the lady sponsor on the phone, and then she picked up her sister, and they all took Teresa to where she was supposed to meet her sponsor, and they talked and got to know her the best they could. As they were saying goodbye, Teresa asked Ms. Kim, "Do you go to church?" And Ms. Kim said yes. Now, during our conversation, it was at this point I inserted, "Did you tell her you go to a really good church?" But that's really not germane to the story. That would be about me. Okay. "Do you go to church?" And Kim said yes. "Are you a Christian?" she asked Ms. Kim. And Kim, with big tears in her eyes, because no one had ever asked her that, "Yes, I try to be." And the woman said these words to her, "I knew that you were, because everyone else walked right past me. But you stopped to help me. I could see your faith in you." Now later, Kim was talking to her sister as they drove home, and she says, "You know, before I started going to church 9 years ago, I would have never stopped and helped that lady." And her sister sadly said, "That's right, you wouldn't have." As Ms. Kim told me this story on the phone last night, Ms. Kim cried, which does not happen often. And she reflected with these words, "You know, Sara, sometimes I'm depressed. I'm sad. I know I'm negative. My light is not very bright sometimes. But today, I let my light shine." I realized, she goes on, that we all go down sad roads, dark roads, but I don't have to let that define me. We don't have to let that define us. And then she burst into tears again. She says, "Because, Sara, we have God, and we have each other. And people need us." Yes, Miss Kim was a light to a lady new to our land yesterday. But it seems to me that Teresa was a light for Miss Kim as well. And Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, it will not be restored. It's no longer good for anything." Are you salt or are you blah? Are you light or are you a big shadowy downer? Whatever we do as a church this week, our food pantry, our hope shop, our Feel the Warmth Center, our Sunday school, our ministry groups, our hospitality hour, our choirs, how we treat one another, how we treat our neighbors. Do we make sure that in all that we do, we bring flavor and light to that life? Do we make sure we cause others to thank God that we came along? Who gives glory to God? Because you live. In our relationships, our homes, do we add flavor? Do we cast out shadows with our light? As we put our faith into action in the world, in our decisions, in our policies, do we bring hope and justice? Or do we just maintain the status quo because I'm doing okay? Too bad about everybody else. Is it all about us? or is about bringing light to people in fear? Now, I'm just going to say real plain, the world does not need more Debbie Downers. Finding fault wherever we can, pointing out mistakes, just general negativity. The world does not need more people that leave a bad taste in your mouth. The world needs more people we just can't get enough of, like that salt on that chicken. You just have to have another bite. That's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be so rich and so flavorful and so full of love and life that people just can't get enough. The world does not need more decisions that target certain people, exclude certain people, deny certain people, divides people, makes people afraid. We have enough of that. The world needs justice. The world needs equality. The world needs us to share our resources, to be more fair, to be more accepting, more hope, more connection, more salt, more light. That's what Jesus told us. Doesn't get much more plain than that. You're the salt. You're the light. And why do we do all that? So we are made famous? No. So we feel good about ourselves? No. We do it to give glory to God. And so the ultimate questions: would anyone know God because they know you? Would anyone see Christ still showing up in the world on this last Sunday of Easter because they see you? Mary Ann Robinson wrote these words, and I found them compelling today, and so I quote, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous?" And then she asks this question, actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people don't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, she writes, as children shine. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within each of us. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is in all of us. It's not just in some, she writes, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we then unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. End quote.